Alright guys, welcome back. We are watching Sousou no Frieren Season 1, Episode 19. Last time, we finally reached the magical city, and we have began the first class mage exam. We got a whole bunch of new characters. What we got? We got Ubel, we got Kun, we got Lavine, we got... I don't even know. Who else? Who else? We got that other guy that was in Fern's group. I don't think we know his name yet. Whole bunch of characters. Whole bunch of characters. We gotta catch this damn bird. That's not going too well. But apparently Frieren has a plan, so excited for that, I suppose. So hey, I hope we catch up with Fern some. I kind of hoping that's gonna be the dynamic here as we kind of switch back and forth, watch their groups, you know. I also wonder what are we is Stark just not gonna be in this arc at all? Are we gonna get to see him ever? Or is he just he's just absent now? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he'll be up to something. Who knows? Anyway, we're watching episode 19. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Absolutely. Oh, what was that guy's name again? They introduced him. Yeah. Ubel. Hmm. I love like the first shot of the opening, the butterfly with the flower. Flowers are obviously a pretty you know, thematically symbolic thing in this story, right? I wonder what you could say a butterfly is then, you know? It's blue, like Himmel, perhaps. I miss Sign. I feel like I keep saying that. I've really been mourning the loss of Sign, but I was just thinking about how is he even in this opening, you know? Oh, her eyes, man. They are terrifying. Kraft was so right, calling them a killer's eyes or whatever. Oh, there's her with their ridiculous hair. Okay. Well laid plans. Well, we were indeed developing a plan. Yes, yes. Let's hear it. Maybe. Maybe they won't tell us. Yeah, they hate each other so much. I can't believe it. Hmm. I wonder what Frieren thinks about that, right? Because yeah, I was thinking about like that compared to her relationship with Himmel, you know, is interesting. Ooh. Of course he's scared. Yeah, but he'll fight anyway, obviously. A good one. Come on. A very open one. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I think all heroes, all adventurers are like that, right? We've seen how, you know, history changes the truth, you know, about people like Himmel, like Eisen. Yeah. Oh, did they get it? Wow. Okay. Maybe we don't need a... Yeah. Huh. Oh, really? What, keeping it? Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I guess we got another day to go, right? Or is it 2 days? Well, I don't think we have to go attacking them. Right? We can play on the defensive, right? Surely. She scares me. I don't know. Okay, let's review. Tough as dragons. How did Frieren catch it? Okay. Oh, they can, like, sense it? Yeah, yeah. Just tell they're there? Yeah, it's out of there. Oh, it's, like, impossible to detect them. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Okay. It's not gonna be that bad. Come on. Just a whole bunch of doom and gloom. Like, come on, we got this. Oh, okay. Interesting. It's gonna be something stupid. It's yeah. What kind of spell is it? Oh, okay, okay. Like what she used on the giant evil bird, right? Okay, okay. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a monstrous bird. Same thing. Anything that broadly resembles a bird. That's a very specific spell, huh? I can only capture birds. Why not? Oh God. Oh, how are we gonna do that? I'm not even close. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys can try and, like, freeze it again, and then Frieren can just, like, rush in there. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they slowed it down a little bit. Yeah, yeah. Right, right. Remember the rain? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Exactly, like rain, right? I just don't know how we're gonna get access to the rain, right? Oh, true, because it would detect the mana. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, you could use that. You could use that, right? Sure, sure. Huh. Try and, like, lead it somewhere, right? Interesting. Too bad we don't get to hear the plan, huh? Blueberries. Risky. Ooh. It's gonna be, like, a very large scale, I assume. But what you gonna say? Whoa! Some parties really are different, huh? Man. Good answer. Good answer. Thank you. Land. I think that is a much better idea. No, that's a much better idea. Ubel, I don't want you to go kill people. I'm gonna assume Fern is probably stronger than Ubel. So if worse comes to worse, I don't know. Ooh, okay. Maybe they will see what this plan is all about, huh? It is raining again. Oh, okay, so it's only sunset today. Yeah. I thought it might be another day. I don't remember. Oh, oh yeah, they're gathering all the water, right? Oh, or is that it? Okay. It's the barrier. Like blocking the river? Yeah. I mean, it's blocking the rain, obviously. Right, right. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So if the plan is to somehow herd the style with like the mana imbued water, then hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, that's the silver hair guy. Yeah. Oh, he knows. He saw. Oh god. Oh, she's good at that. She's good at that. Yeah. Hmm. I imagine Fern has a lot more experience in fights like this than most people, frankly. Huh. Starf. Easier to take one that somebody's already captured than capture one yourself, probably. Verbal, that was his name. Or Verbal, maybe? She's fast. She's very fast. Oh. Oh, God. So what? Who did that? Fern? Or was that someone else somewhere else? Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So this is, yeah. Oh, freezing it. Interesting. Oh, that sound. That is impressive, huh? We can go ice skating. How do you know? Yeah, they said they would be picking a fight, right? Oh god. Why do we need to melt it? Like, is it that big of a deal? Come on. Let the lake be frozen. It's fine. I mean, yeah, the amount of, like, heat it would take to melt this would be insane, right? Like, no way. Interesting, yeah. I mean, obviously, right, it was the style coming towards the lake. That's why they want to melt it, right? I'm surprised you can run on the ice like that. Probably is practice. Okay, so that's step one of the plan. What else are we doing, right? Making, like, a more... Maybe we freeze the lake and have, like, a different area of water somewhere that then the style would go to, you know? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, man. Hmm. I I don't think this is gonna work. Yeah. Oh, well, because of the mana, right? Yeah, yeah. Exactly. That can't be the whole plan, though, right? Yeah, they're trying to win. Come on. Yeah. A well-laid plan. I like this guy. He's a lot older than the other people taking the exam, right? Very interesting. Makes you wonder if he's, been a mage for a long time, or because why is he so old taking it now and everyone else is so young? I don't know. I don't know. It seems like so many people rushed into doing it. Oh, great. Or if he's perhaps someone like Frieren, who had no reason to become a first-class mage, until now, maybe. Oh, yeah. Those things. Wonder what they're called, other than just monsters, I guess. Interesting, yeah. I wonder if that's part of why, the style avoid, like, heavy concentrations of mana, too. Because the predators go there. I think that's part of the test. Yeah, yeah, it's a... Laughing. You wouldn't... Yeah, wouldn't survive as a first-class mage, not up in the Northern Lands, if you die here, I guess, right? Is that the idea? Right, right. Oh. Interesting. Duncan. Yeah, yeah. Sure, sure, yeah. It's not like it makes you stronger to be recognized as a first-class mage. Control people's hearts. Yeah. Sounds like the Demon King in a way, right? I'm sure. Someone as weak as you. Hmm. Interesting. There's some water. Although, I wonder. Yeah. So, is she infusing all the water with mana? Or. Oh. Yeah, just these little bodies of water. Friren's good at that. Yeah, yeah, I mean, it really seems like they're being, like, orchestrated like this, right? Right. I thought he was supposed to be the weak one, come on. Interesting. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure as, like, a survival mechanism, their mana detection is probably very precise. Maybe. Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. I just wonder if there's more to it, but maybe that's it, maybe that's it. Although it just seems like such a small time frame here, right? We only have until sunset. Do we really have time to go around and manify every water source but one? Okay, okay. Exactly, yeah. And it feels like that would ruin the whole plan. Okay. I mean, I guess they're not all just gonna go to, like, one, right? Sure. Hmm. Really gonna limit her mana, I'm sure. Yeah. Oh. Wow. Yeah, that is impressive. I'm sure it takes a lot of effort, right? Yeah, yeah. Probably, yeah. Can't sense it that precisely. I assume like the visualization of mana we get is just a representation of like the very specific like detection for it you can develop, right? Interesting. Oh god. Right, a bunch of stuff might come here, right? Oh god. If other things want to avoid the mana water. Big fluffy guy. It's like a canine a deer. I wonder, does it because Frieren's like completely suppressing her mana, that even those just not bother her, you know? Man. So much patience. She's good at it, right? She's good at waiting, I guess. Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. Very impressive. Very impressive. Makes you think about how that style went right up to the instructor guy, too. It's not guaranteed they might try to take it from us, right? Oh, oh, yeah. Sure, sure. And he's very good at detecting it. Oh, she's fast. Oh. I don't know if any of them are going to be a match for Frieren, but we'll see. Oh, not the flowers. Oh, wow. God, she's so cool. It's such a crazy thing to do to like conserve mana that much, just have like specific shields like that for every projectile. Yeah, that's old. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah. What more does one need? Yeah, yeah, it works for her. Right, yeah, ordinary offensive magic, right? Oh, interesting. Like the way that's phrased. Huh. Oh, God. I'm sure she's blocking all of it, yeah. Oh, God. This feeling of wrongness. You sure are, yeah. And what's the point in all this flashy magic, you know? Would she? I wonder. Does she not think she is? I wonder. Oh. Right, right, yeah, yeah. That was what they said about him last episode. That isn't all that makes someone strong, right? Devoid of character. I... maybe. I'm scared of her. Oh, god damn it. Really? Man, come on. That was mean. That was a mean ending. That felt like the middle of an episode. Like, come on. Man. Hmm. Well, good episode. Good episode. I don't know. Huh. Stuff like this, I don't know how much I'll have to talk about, but we'll see. We'll see. Right. It's not like it's bad by any means. I just feel like it's probably silly, but it's like the idea that somehow the length of the discussion decides how good it was. You know, that doesn't make any sense. Right. Obviously, when we're doing less like episodic stuff, it's gonna be harder to say stuff because we haven't seen the conclusion of what's happening right now, right? When with previous episodes, it's always very episodic, right? It's like we kind of have a storyline that starts in the episode and ends in the episode, so there's a lot to analyze, right? Butterfly yet again. Oh, so beautiful. I love the ending shot. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, we will talk about the episode in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. I am enjoying this arc so far. The mage exam, I think, is quite interesting. I feel like I really need to see where it's going more precisely to say that much, like thematically. Obviously, the dynamic between like Frieren and Khan and Lavigne, I think there's obviously stuff there, right? Like for sure. But I guess I'm curious where there's definitely there will be more room for exploration with that kind of stuff, right? I think the we kind of talked about it last time, right? But the position that Freerun is like fulfilling in the party, is interesting because I feel like it's something she hasn't really done before, right? Because even with Fern, for example, like yeah, she literally like raised Fern almost, right? She was traveling with her when she was still like really young, right? But we saw how even very early on, because of the way Freerun is, Fern kind of like took over. It was almost like it's an equal relationship in a way, And here, I mean, honestly, it's Khan and Levine. They are so helpless in a lot of ways because of the dynamic between them, right? Because of this very unique dynamic they have going on. That Frieren kind of gotta, she's gotta step up in a way. I don't know, I like it. I enjoy it quite a bit. I love these two so much. They're probably, I don't know, they're great. They're great. I'm gonna be sad because I'm sure we're never gonna see them again after the exam is over. But they're really cool. I enjoy them. And man, we got some Fern and Ubel in this group. I forgot his name. What was his name? I don't remember. Maybe we'll see it as we go through the episode more. Um, we haven't really gotten into it yet, but I was just hoping. Maybe we won't, right? I was just hoping. I could imagine an interesting dynamic between Fern and Ubel here, considering like the way that their attitudes are, and it seems, yeah, I can imagine just an interesting like way they could bounce off each other, perhaps, right? Um, especially here with how it seems like Fern. I mean, I don't think I'm overestimating Fern. She certainly seems like probably much stronger than like all of these other people, right? I mean, she was trained by Frieren. Like this line right here. This sounds like such a cocky thing to say, and it kind of is, Um, she certainly seems very powerful, which is interesting compared to Ubel, who is so she's so like full of herself in a way, right? Ubel's very confident, you know. Fern, I guess you could say Fern is confident, but in a different way, right? I don't know if Fern hasn't like interacted with other mages that much. That's the interesting part of this is we get to actually like we get some real power scaling or some power like comparisons here, because like I don't think Fern has any idea how strong or not strong she is compared to anyone else, right? Um, especially, I mean, I don't know what she says here is interesting when she says this girl is like the strongest one here. Um, instead of verbal or verbal. I don't know if the W is pronounced like V or not. I mean, it's German, so I want to say it's verbal. But either way, it's interesting that Fern says, yeah, that she is the strongest one here. I wonder by what metric, like mana detection. I mean, I don't think it would be that simple, right? Because Freeman just told us in the last episode, um, that amount of mana you have is certainly not the only thing that makes you powerful, right? So I wonder, and Freeman listed a bunch of other like factors that have to do with like how strong of a mage you are, right? I wonder if it's if Fern is using that list of qualities to in some way assess their strength. Very interesting, right? Because in that sense, verbal in a way seems similar to Ubel as well, right? In terms of being like very confident in their abilities, like full of themselves in a way, right? Like probably too confident, right? Um, which that certainly wasn't one of the one of the factors of strength that like Frieren mentioned, Um, it's very interesting. I mean, of course, there's no correlation between how powerful you think you are and how powerful you actually are, right? I mean, and like to extrapolate out of just like a fantasy scenario here, like in real life too, right? Like obviously, how confident you are in anything has nothing to do with how good you actually are at it, right? Hmm. It's God, and I'm telling you, his magic is devoid of character. It's underhanded for the sole purpose of winning. Like that too, right? Um, there's something to that. This idea, like we've talked about mana before, is this idea of being representative of like very specific like things about characters, right? Like being, it certainly means something more than just like mana, right? So I wonder by what sense you could say that this idea of his magic being devoid of character, underhanded for the sole purpose of winning, what that says about like obviously you can imagine what that says about him as like a character, right? But in some way that you can extrapolate that further to like specific attributes about him, perhaps. I don't know. The idea of it being devoid of character, I suppose, is like the specific thing, right? Him being underhanded for the sole purpose of winning. I think that makes sense with the attitude that we've seen from him, right? Hmm. God, what a mean ending to this episode, you know? Just just the smash cut to the end, like God, that's like the first time Frieren has ever done that to me. Anyway, well laid plans, and it is a well laid plan indeed. It didn't go the way I thought it was. I thought we were gonna do something with the rain. I was so sure that's what we were gonna do. Is that still in some way part of a plan that has yet to unfold? I don't think so, because we caught the bird, right? So maybe I don't know. But then what was Frieren talking about? Then at the end of that last episode, what was Frieren talking about? If this was the plan all along, what they do at the end of the last episode have to do? I guess she used the bird capturing spell. Was that really it? I've just been overthinking it this whole time. I guess. I can't believe how much these two hate each other. It's crazy, right? Lavigne is rough, but she pulls me along with her. It's a very interesting thing, right? An interesting dynamic between them compared to someone like Frieren and like Himmel. Because Himmel treated Frieren in such a different way from that, right? It was like the opposite of any kind of like, I don't know, like tough love, I guess you could say. Whatever you want to call the way that Lavigne treats Khan, right? Himmel did not treat Frieren like that in any way at all, for any way similar to that, right? Like kind of the exact opposite, you know. It's I don't know. It's interesting thinking about that as a dynamic, right? Frieren thinks about it too, about how it's just everyone's different in a way. I guess maybe the important part of that is not everyone is going to have someone like Himmel in their life too, right? Um, and I wonder with the last episode as well, the fact that Khan said like, Khan was so like wrong in a way about what she like needs to like improve, right? What kind of motivation she needs, because she said in order to like be successful, she needs people to just praise her all the time and all of this. Um, and that wasn't really working. And then Levine kicked her off the cliff, and that's what finally got her to fly, right? So it's interesting because in that case, it's like she was wrong about what she thought she needed. Which is I don't know, it's an interesting idea, right? And I think that's kind of true, right? I think it's very easy to confuse like what you're comfortable with, which for her certainly was being complimented and that kind of thing, right? It makes her feel good, right? It's very easy to confuse that feeling with what you actually need in order to like succeed, right? And what I think is so funny is I literally compared that directly to like making Stark fight the dragon in the last episode and last discussion, and they like literally do that here in a way, right? Where we cut back to this dragon scene with Ice and Himmel, right? The idea of being afraid, having to do things that you were afraid of, right? Having to leave your comfort zone. Which that alone is interesting too, because I talked about how Himmel, like his treatment of Frieren is so different. But it's just because Frieren's idea of what her comfort zone was is obviously so different than what Khan's is, right? Because Frieren is so, or was back then, so like asocial and so disconnected from like what anything like a normal relationship is in a way, right? I guess it makes sense that her comfort zone would be in a very different spot, right? Or like being able to push her out of her comfort zone in some way so she can like kind of grow and change, right? What Himmel does with her is kind of just like show her like real normal emotion and just like try and connect with her, right? And for Frieren, that alone is something that was kind of outside of her comfort zone in a way, right? Obviously, it led to her really liking Himmel, right? But like, you know what I mean, right? Hmm. They're both scared, of course, of course. I thought I'd copy other adventurers and inspire you, but it doesn't seem to have worked, which is an interesting thing for him to say. Because it's just like we've seen in the story as time has gone on, how this idea of like real heroes or a real adventurer or whatever, somehow being fearless and, pulling the magical sword out of the stone and all of this, it's just total myths, right? It's just, that's just not how it works at all, right? A real hero, a real adventurer is someone like Himmel, right? Or is someone like Eisen, someone who is afraid and who is, all of these things that make someone like human, right? And we've seen how time like changes that, right? And Himmel himself is like being, uh, his perception of what it means to be a real hero is changed by that, Like we think back to that flashback with him like wanting to be a real hero, It's like what even is a real hero, It's I think the idea of a real hero is entirely just a made up thing that is just as warped by the passage of time as like what we've seen happen to like Flom or Himmel over time, right? Sure, this sort of thing differs from party to party. Absolutely. It sure does. They have a very different relationship, huh? Hmm. So they caught a style. I wonder how they did it so easily, right? I wonder if it was Fern. I don't know. I don't know. But they did it, I guess. Hmm. The hard part's still to come, right? Because they have to not have it get stolen by other parties. I wish they could have just like hidden. I feel like that would be so easy to do to just hide somewhere. But I guess there is, mana detection, right? And it's not everyone is as good at concealing your mana as like Frieren and assumedly Fern, right? God, her face, man, she is terrifying. God, there's just something about the way her eyelids are always like slightly, slightly closed like this, and just her grin, and it's really it's the contrast between the eyes and the hair, I'm telling you, that is what makes it so like striking. Man, she's scary. So we review what we learned. They can fly faster than the speed of sound. They have insane, precise mana detection. They're strong as dragons. They break free from everything. Them being super sensitive to mana like makes sense to like nerd out for a second about that, because like evolutionarily, I guess it would certainly be a very, it would be if all the predators that are going after them like emit mana in some way. Of course, it would be a very strong like factor in terms of like natural selection, right? For like mana detection, makes a lot of sense, right? And I'm sure it would be stronger than like people's mana detection, because it's so closely linked to like their survival as a species, right? Just like in real life, like how a lot of animals have like better hearing or better eyesight, like I don't know, I guess it's an example like a predator, but like a hawk or something has way better eyesight than we do. I guess kind of in the same vein, because they have to like eat to survive, different than avoiding predators, right? But still, they have, yeah, they themselves have practically no mana, which I'm also sure is part of like, a survival factor in a way, right? Because they can be detected, right? Like how we see that scene of Frieren when she's completely compressing her mana, how that giant monster bird just lands right next to her and doesn't care. In that sense, it makes you wonder if the monsters, it makes you wonder how the monsters work, right? Like, are they only attracted to mana? Like, do they feed off of mana, right? Is the only reason that they want to eat people and other living things is to, like, eat the mana or something, right? And is that why, even though Friren's sitting there, right there, and it has eyes, it can see her, it just doesn't care because it thinks she has no mana? Maybe, right? That'd be interesting. Because we've seen how the monsters in this universe, like, fade away into just black nothingness, right? It's made me wonder if they themselves are in some way made of, like, magic, right? Hmm. So, we got to come up with a plan here. Got to figure out a way to catch it. Frieren has her idea, of course, which is the bird catching spell, which is a very specific, yeah, very specific folk spell that literally just captures birds specifically. It used to be used to capture anything that broadly resembles a bird. So if something didn't resemble a bird, it just wouldn't do anything. That's I guess. I mean, we've seen how specific the spells are in this universe, I guess, right? Like the one that turns grapes into sour grapes and like stuff like that, right? I guess it makes sense. The range is 50 centimeters. Absolutely. We got to work together. We got to figure this out. Hmm. Can't just freeze it. Not that easy. They, of course, each one of them has like their own part of this, of course, right? Levine goes and freezes the main water. She Khan, puts her mana in all these pools all over the place. Very interesting. It's interesting what I forgot his name, the old guy. What he says later about the idea that whoever put the mana in the water probably wouldn't be able to tell. That's an interesting, because I imagine she can tell that she put mana in it, right? I don't know if that says something about her magic. Maybe, maybe. Hmm. So yeah, this is where we set up the whole plan. Is that they will stay away from the water that is infused with mana, so we could just have like a little bit of a mana pool somewhere. Yeah, yeah. Makes sense, makes sense. Or not a mana pool, a water pool somewhere that doesn't have mana in it. Yeah. I said these were blueberries, but they almost look like olives, I guess, right? Maybe that makes sense, like olive branches. Hmm. We'd be picking a fight, and Khan asks Levine if she's scared, and it's like, are we gonna get a throwback to that scene we just got, and this is her answer, so that's great, that's really good. Very, very different, huh? Very different dynamic. So we got Land, that's his name. Land, Ubel, Fern. So yeah, so Ubel's only a third class mage because she killed the first class mage last time, right? He's second class, yeah, yeah. Hmm. You have to go get water. We talk about the barrier so much. I thought something about the barrier was going to happen. I thought they were going to like mess with the barrier somehow, so water was going to like get in because we bring up all this stuff about like the riverbed being dry and all of this. But I guess again, I just really overthought what Frieren's plan was going to be, like a lot, I suppose. So my bad. I don't know. I don't know. I thought I had to. I was thought for sure it's gonna have something to do with the rain, but It's oh well. Oh well. Hmm. So yeah, this is where all the water's in the middle of the lake. So of course everyone's surrounding around the lake because that's where the styles are gonna go, right? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. There's Verbal, ready to attack. God, I mean, not Frieren, Fern. Fern, like, I wonder if the other people who are like fighting her feel like she's like aura farming, because the way that she like blocks attacks and stuff, doing the crazy like she just puts a shield up and like a specific spot to block every like projectile individually. It has to seem so crazy. It's crazy that she's that confident to like do that. It's so like risky. And it's just to like maintain some mana, right? And we talked about that forever ago, right? Like episode 3 about how like defensive spells take a ton of mana because they're so strong. So I guess you kind of have to be able to do that. Fern's just so good at it. It's probably very impressive, right? And we've talked before as well how fast Fern is, right? The what Frieren said about her being so fast at like firing off spells. Which I'm telling you that means something, right? And like about her as a character, I just don't know what exactly. I don't know what exactly. So Levine freezes the lake. Absolutely. Everyone starts freaking out and trying to melt it. Even though that's just not gonna work. Like how long would it take of shooting fire at this giant block of ice to melt it? Like maybe I don't know. Here's Denkin, second class mage. He's so much older than the other contestants. I think that is interesting. Richter, second class mage, and Loffen, third class mage. Hmm. And their plan is to steal one, naturally, naturally. On going off, filling all the water pools, of course. This is kind of risky. No, actually, I was gonna say this is kind of risky because like Frieren could be screwing over Fern's party too and making it so they can't get a style. But I guess we only need one, right? We only need one first class mage to go to the Northern Land. So I guess it doesn't matter if Fern fails the test as long as Frieren passes, right? Of course, I don't think Fern's gonna fail, but. And I guess I mean vice versa too. I'd say who knows, right? Hmm. So Denkin here has a very interesting attitude about things. Um, it makes you wonder, right? I kind of brought this up during the reaction. It makes you wonder, like, he's so much older than all the other people here, all the other test takers. It seems like all these other people rush so much to try and become a first class mage, right? For one, maybe it makes sense because the first class mage exam is so dangerous that people who are a lot younger wanting to take it kind of makes sense just because it seems like it's such a reckless thing to do, right? I think you would be, as you get older, you would be less willing to like recklessly, risk your life in a way, right? Just because, I don't know, you're older and more like logical, right? So maybe that alone kind of makes sense, right? But also it makes you wonder, like, why is he only taking it now? Like what's his past? What's up with him? Or if he's taken it many times and just failed. I Who knows? Who knows? But he seems so smart. He seems so like he's the leader in this group for sure, right? He seems so hmm. It makes you wonder too if he's someone like Frieren, right? That he doesn't place much importance in the idea of being a first class mage, right? Which again, that's something that it seems like for younger people they might put a lot more stock in the idea of being like officially recognized in that way. And as you grow older, that's something that maybe is less important to you because you have other things in life more important to you. Hmm. So yeah, all the evil bird monsters detecting the mana, of course. That is how they lure and hunt their prey. They're called geisel, I suppose. I didn't realize that was the name of them the first time. Geisel. Okay. Oh, Geisel, something like that. Hmm. Administer the test and they're inhabited by monsters like these. But well, that's the point. That is the point. Yeah, if you die here, then you aren't fit to be a first class mage. It is a very, what Dankin says, it's a very like that's the point, right? It's supposed to be a very prestigious title to be a first class mage, right? This is interesting how the style line lands right next to him. It makes you wonder, right? Because like we see Frieren having to compress her mana so much for the style to land right on her, right? Makes you wonder about him and like his power as a mage, right? I mean, he is the person, he's the examiner, so you gotta assume he's quite powerful, right? And Dakin has some things to say about kind of like the nature of power and all of this, right? The quality of a mage is irrelevant. First class mages need only be symbols of power, right? No matter how powerful you are, unless you can control people's hearts, you're as good as powerless. I've seen countless mages far more skilled than myself fall from power and be persecuted. Very interesting. God, it makes you wonder about his past so much, right? Like he's gotten up to a lot in life, it seems. Gotten up to a lot in life. It also makes me think about, yeah, great power is feared, and rule by fear doesn't last long, right? He's comparing like the current system, this whole first class mage system, to rule by fear, essentially, right? Which is an interesting thing to bring up, right? We haven't really talked about that in this universe, this idea of like the structures and all of this in some way being like a negative system as they are now, right? Very interesting, very interesting. Magic isn't a noble thing. I like his attitude. I like his attitude, right? It's kind of the same that, it didn't have to be magic, right? Of course, of course. Magic is just another thing, right? Another thing to devote yourself to, I suppose. So our plan is enacted. Khan has filled as many of the water pools as she could with mana to make so the styles won't go to them. And then Frieren compresses her mana completely, which I assume is a very difficult task. And the style lands right on her shoulder. Very nice. Very cool. I assume this like visualization we get of like the mana is just a representation of like how precise your mana detection can be. Like you don't literally see it, right? Because of what like Levine says that she can't tell, right? Yeah, she can't sense it that like precisely, right? Hmm. If it just rain, I could be useful in a fight, but the barrier would deflect all of it, right? We bring up rain again, right? Rain and the barrier and all of this, right? Something's gonna happen with it. Something has to happen with it. Come on. I like this, like, canine looking deer, that thing. Very cool. Very nice. God. A Geisen, I guess that's their name, lands right next to her. And there's a style. And she gets it. But that is not the end of our struggles, of course, because we're gonna have to not have it be captured by them. Although I don't know, Frieren is quite a bit stronger than everyone else. But I guess, well, maybe not. Maybe I'm being too. Maybe I'm overestimating her. She has said that she has been defeated by humans before, right? You never know. You never know. You never know. And we're back here. Already kind of talked about this, but Fern is so cool. I'm telling you, Fern is way stronger than all these people at the very least, right? Her technique is refined and shows no openings, but it's old. It's like fighting against my grandfather. Ordinary offensive magic and defensive magic. You only use basic spells. But it seems like that's all you really need, right? I guess I just wonder, why would you need more than that in a way, right? Why would you need these crazy flashy things, right? It fits so much, of course, for a character like Fern, who is so, like the way she is, right? She's not emotionally. She seems so. She's always so calm and so like. It seems like she's like emotionally closed off at first glance, but she really isn't, right? She's actually like very like open, in a way. I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense. And this line makes you think, like, it's enough to defeat mages of this era. It makes you think about what Frieren said, right? The idea that magic used to be so much more common. That like mages in some way have actually gotten weaker in some way over time, right? That mages of this era are somehow like worse, right? Obviously, it's not magic itself, because we've talked about the evolution of magic and how like humanity has developed stronger magic over time, right? But it seems like mages themselves, perhaps, are weaker than they used to be because there just aren't as many mages, right? You don't have to be a mage for like survival, I suppose, right? This feeling of wrongness. I wonder, being outclassed? Maybe, maybe. She's the strongest one here. And very mean ending. But I guess that's it. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. I just want to see where this goes, right? This is a man, we haven't had like an actual arc that lasts longer than like an episode in a while. So I'm down with it. I'm down with it. What, we got 9 episodes left, right? There's 28 in season 1. So what, we got we'll be done around the end of February with season 1. I was trying to think if I want to try and do like some double episodes to try and catch up more so I can try and start season 2 closer to like when it starts airing. I don't know. We'll see. It'll just depend if I have time or not, right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. This would have honestly been a great one to do a double episode with, but I just don't have time today, unfortunately. Maybe next week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, that is it. So please, if you enjoy my videos, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.